Hi, I'm Nate Chaffetz, and welcome to the Bowdoin Reality Check, where I hope to bring a little reality into the Bowdoin bubble. It is so awesome when the students at this school prove me right. Considering the gravitas of my libertarian opinions on most of the subjects that I have done segments on, such as sweatshops and unions, one would assume that I have received substantial criticism for my work. I haven't. But it took the Credit DF protest story to finally provoke an outpouring of responses. To me, this shows just how much we all really care about those sweatshop workers. Here is a look at what some of you had to say about my piece on YouTube. Someone with the YouTube username much rather be sleeping, yeah, this person doesn't sound lazy to me, right? Wrote, "You idiot, Credit DF was part of what made Bowdoin a liberal arts education. It made students feel more capable of taking classes they might not have chosen. But we still have Credit DF, so what are you talking about?" Let's see what other people wrote. Bowbow98 wrote, "You're a loser. 1, go suck some more faculty. 2, grow your own dick, please. And 3, shut the up." Well, by the looks of your videos on YouTube, you're a pretty good crip walker. But you're an insult to the state of intellectual discourse on this campus. I posted this video with my name on it. By posting your juvenile response under the cloak of anonymity, you tarnish what it means to be a Bowdoin student. Whomever you are, a different YouTube user wrote, "You need to do your research before you make these assertions. One of the reasons why the BSG protested this policy was because distribution requirements are so screwed up. It's really hard to fill your ESD/IP requirements. Distribution requirements are the problem here, not Credit DF." To that I say, when you consider how hard it is to get into this purportedly elite school, Bowdoin students should be capable of doing this simple task relatively easily. Our 18% acceptance rate means that you had to be somewhat talented to make it in here, so surely you can manage a decent grade in some 101 or sub 100 level course. Honestly, people, I don't think I'm being ambitious here with my expectation. The same person also wrote, "Reality check, you're a gigantic moron who enjoys hearing the sound of your own voice." Actually, I've been embarrassed by my voice my entire life. I sound like Kermit the Frog. It's kind of embarrassing. But anyway, back to the ever-intrepid "I'd rather be sleeping." You also wrote, "P.S. How much did some prof pay to be his tool? I wish I did get paid for this. The truth is, I really believe in what I say." Anyway, enough of the fun criticism. I interviewed Will Donahoe, BSG Vice President of Student Organizations, to get an intelligent response to my piece. First of all, thanks so much for coming on and giving the opposite side. You know, I've been criticized a lot for being one-sided, but honestly, I've tried to get interviews from people, and they don't want to, which I think is a shame.
Right.
But anyway, it's good to have you here. You wrote a critique of my piece on your web blog, www.becuria.com.
Right.
So go look at that. Just try and verbalize your reaction. You know, just talk about it.
I think in general the issue I took up with it is that it was trying to compare the protest that we conducted to something like a much more social issue. I think it's something that comparing it to an issue that we would have debated outside of the college itself.
You wrote this: "We didn't fight for the many students who use Credit DF for grade protection. To believe we would is just flatly ignorant. Why would the faculty ever buy that? Please, they all have PhDs. We fought on the principle that Credit DF is part of the liberal arts academic exploration." So,
right.
You know, that's a pretty fair statement. However, we still have Credit DF. I can still use it to take a course I'm afraid to take.
Right, but it's a slippery slope system. You see what I'm saying? So, and when you really look, when you break down the math, you know, we're decreasing the amount of liberal arts exploration by getting rid of distribution requirements. If you're a double major, if you're pre-med, at this point, you can't use your CDF for your distribution requirements. You can't use it for your major. That leaves you very few credits left. And if you go abroad, if you can go abroad, that leaves maybe not even 4 credits to use CDF on.
I think the real issue is the faculty believes that Credit DF in the required courses ruins their courses. I've heard from...
And I'll disagree with you here, because I think the faculty believes that some of the departments that they don't necessarily believe in themselves. We never had a chance to really be part of that argument or be part of that discussion. You know, there's 2 students that sit at the faculty committee. Sam is one of them, Sam, VP of Academic Affairs, and Dustin Brooks. Sam isn't even there all the time. And then the Orient reporters who can't speak.
I've spoken to a professor. She did not want to be named, so I'm not going to. This person told me that 70% of one of her courses was taken, had students who were taking it Credit DF. It ruined her course. She couldn't do any group work
people just didn't care. It was like, you know, one of the most, I think, embarrassing moments for her as a professor at supposedly one of the best schools in the entire world.
I think the basic argument with this is that the issue is more with the distribution requirements. So, you know, taking away from that isn't going to solve the issue. I think the issue has to be readdressed. And a lot of these issues we've been debating, they're connected. You know, this connects back to academic advising, which is a major problem for the college, which might be the primary problem that, you know, when we get peer reviewed is the major problem. And then it goes back to the discussion is the new distribution requirement system effective?
This is Bowdoin. We're one of the best schools in the country. If you can't do simple math or simple science or simple history or whatever, then your transcript should reflect that. So as to protect the integrity of our school.
But I think you've just argued my own point, which is that the admissions process filters that, so when they come here, they should already have a basic understanding. We have requirements for how many classes we have to take before we get here.
There are kids here who don't know anything about certain subjects.
I think that it's a Band-Aid solution on an institutional problem. And I think that the protest was part of that drive to be like, we want to be part of this discussion.
Right. Fair enough. Anyway, I really appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot, Nick.
All right.
I have two main points. The first is that the severity of the responses to the credit DF piece show how apathetic some people at Bowdoin are about issues that affect the world outside of our little bubble. Furthermore, we still have credit DF for academic exploration, so we really haven't lost anything but the ability not to work hard in some classes. And finally, this is Bowdoin. We are one of the best higher education institutions in the world. Is it not too much for the school to demand a basic graded level of proficiency in a varied field of subjects? In order to maintain the integrity of the Bowdoin degree, it should be noted on a student's transcript whether he or she is or is not proficient in a given subject area. Considering the amount of grade inflation that already exists, I think future students will survive the switch. That being said, I say cheers once again to the faculty for making what was clearly the right decision for Bowdoin students regarding credit DF in required courses.